Alrighty, everybody, welcome back again to BlenderSith once more. This is a quick video since I just put one out a few days ago. But this here, what you're looking at, came up. I don't want to get into the add-ons. If you watched my previous video and want me open up free models that you get on the internet, you can see why. Because you got to remember, I know you guys are excited, to get into add-ons and everything, and HardOps and Fluent and whatnot. But all that's going to happen is you're going to delay your work because you don't know 3D, you don't know how Blender works yet. You don't have a full grasp on meshes and vertices and edges and faces and all that's involved with them, with the shading and everything, and the problems that can go on with topology and fixing topology and all that stuff. And you got to understand that the modifiers, they're not an end-all, be-all. they're working with a program that you don't understand yet. They're working with everything inside of Blender. And when it does something, and it, when you do something with a modifier in an add-on, Fluent does booleans different than HardOps does. A lot different than HardOps does. And, RanTools is different than both of them, and so on and so on. And a lot of the new people, they cruise YouTube also and look at all the videos and everything. And a couple of people have come across this here. This is called HeavyPoly. You can see right over here where all the keyboards are HeavyPoly hotkeys. And this is a whole user face. Everything about this is custom. You don't really got to add on anything when you're using this because there's a whole... This plugin changes a lot of stuff in Blender. It just makes everything completely different to its own benefit, its own need, its own workflow, basically. You can see our cube right here. I don't know if you can see it. This is going to run slow on my home PC here because this also is, it takes a beefy computer to run this because it's pretty intense. But you can see this, I'm in edit mode and we're in material. This program works in shaded material mode and not shaded mode, like most people are working with, where your computer runs a little bit quicker. And we could turn it over there and everything, but that's going to change again. It's going to change a few things and stuff, and you guys haven't done the basic. You haven't went through all of, in here. You haven't went through all of these settings and everything in here and what they do and stuff, because add-ons are going to use all, depending on what you're doing. If you're getting a rigging add-on, well, it's going to use a lot of rigging stuff and particle stuff. You get a scraping. You get a sculpting add-on. It's going to use a lot of the sculpting stuff and a lot of the settings and stuff that are made for sculpting. Same with rendering. You get a rendering add-on, like K-cycles and some of the other plugins for that and everything. Same thing, and when they have problems, then you have problems, and that's why you end up hitting the Discord forums and everything, and how does this work? I'm stuck. I can't do this, and to be honest, if you followed, if you went, the path of learning Blender and 3D and everything, when you got to the add-ons and everything, you would know how all this stuff works, and all these answers could be answered by yourself. And your workflow would be much, much quicker. Because when you can solve your own problems, there's nothing holding you back. I mean, you could make stuff and everything. When you come across a problem, it takes you 5 minutes or so, sometimes maybe 10, 15, 20, depending on how complicated it is, before you solve the problem. But you know enough about the program and everything in it, to have a good idea, of either how to fix it or how to get it just to work. If you can't fix it the right way, then you can come up with an idea to fix it, to make it work, to do what you want, whether it's right or not. But that takes knowing everything about the program. And with that bigger introduction, that's all this is. And I'm going to show you how this is different because you guys wanted it, because there's not a lot of tutorials on this. And I think it's because it's not really that popular. I like it. I use it for certain things because of the workflow in it, and the workflow in it fits some projects that I end up doing. Yeah, with that, I'll quickly go over. First of all, you can see up here on the snapping, you see, you're not used to seeing that. It says mix there. So if you're paying attention when you put this in, you probably won't even notice that because, again, normal beginners don't use a lot of things in Blender, and that's why they don't know what they are. But he's fixed this, which could affect what you're trying to make, because if you're not paying attention when you load, first of all, if you load this, because let me jump over here. This add-on loads differently than most add-ons. Let's go over here. You see right here, I'm in the default startup for Blender. Well, on my Mac, not on Windows, but you see right here under scripts startup, because this is how when you double click your Blender, HeavyPoly takes over. This becomes your startup file automatically, and you're forced to work in HeavyPoly. So any add-ons that you have, anything that you do, anything that you add to Blender or do with Blender, it's got to be compatible with HeavyPoly. And if it's not compatible, then you either need to not use it, or you either need to figure out what you need to do to get it to be compatible. What's causing the hang-up with Poly. And that requires you to go into scripting and troubleshooting the window and your trace backs, your error codes, and all that stuff to find out what the problem is. Because no one's going to help you on Discord or the forum boards or anything like that. Because like I said, this isn't a widely used program, and that's why there's not a lot of tutorials on it. I think, matter of fact, the only one that has a couple tutorials on it and everything is the developer of it. And they're not really tutorials. They're just videos of him modeling something, and you get to see him using it. But he really doesn't break anything down and explain, everything to you. But if we go up here to the snapping, and I drop this down, you can see by default he has a lot of things already set. The vertex and faces, both of them are set. 99.9% of the people up here are going to only have one of these selected. It's probably not going to be vertex or faces. It's probably going to be increment. Then the snap width is set to active. Project onto self is selected and only affects the move. It doesn't affect rotate or scale. And like I said, depending on what you're trying to do now, when you're modeling, if you're used to regular default Blender or how the regular Blender is set up and everything, a lot of these things are going to be different. Now let's get into some menus here. The Shift A, Add Primitives button, that has been changed also. When I bring that up, this is what it looks like. It doesn't look like what you. Now you got to figure out. When you're new to, you got to figure out what this is. It should be self-explanatory. A cube big, a cube small. A 6, 8, 12. Okay, a cylinder with 6 segments, 8, 12, 24, 30. That's explanatory. Or a circle. Up here's the cylinder. Same thing. 6, 8, 12, 24, 32, all the way up to 128. Then over here is the same thing. Down here we got curves and lights and grease pencil. So, like I said, it's a different workflow. Materials. Let's go into materials. Here's the a custom whole material. This whole thing is all set up custom. Material slots. Oh, apparently our dog needs to get his 2 cents in. But yeah, pretty much everything over here is set up in this materials. Set up for you, your surface color, your vector colors, and all that stuff. And so this is a different way that you need to work. And render settings you can get to right here. Everything, material slots, materials itself, so the settings for them, and all that stuff. The render settings, you can get to all in one panel. And so this is what I'm saying about this whole thing. Is set up in a specials menu. there's a specials menu right here. You know, quick pipe, draw primitives, make round, bridge, and you know, this is probably, he did this whole thing set up to suit his custom workflow. You know how he wants Blender to work, and it works for him. And so he probably started doing videos on it and everything, and people were interested in it. And so he didn't do no tutorials. He didn't sell it or anything. He gave it away free. And I think he put it on Gumroad or GitHub or something. I don't know. It's been so long ago since I got it. But see, here's your subdivide. You know, he's got, this is probably all of his quick, you know, reference things that he accesses quick and everything. But you know, he's got that, you know, there. And like I said, there's more over here. You can go down the whole, you know, selection here, but and the user interface is, you know, switched around, but everything is done, you know, right here. Now it's also the same with the view pies. You know, you push V to pull up the view pie. You know, you can go. This here is the same as the default, but then, you know, we got some other stuff down here in the camera, active cameras, and all that stuff and everything. And we got, you know, the selections pie right here, where we can go to vertex, edge, face. We can go down here and pop it. See, we're in now edit mode. This starts you off in edit mode. You can go down here and go to object and click object, and it pops you over in object. Now, if you want to go back to edit, there's no edit button, so to speak. You just got to pick the vertice that you want. You want verts, you just click on verts, and it'll automatically switch everything over, and you'll be in vert selection. Or you can just pull it back up and go over to faces, which was the default, where it starts out on. But that's all I wanted to go over. I will make some tutorials on this, but not right now. This is going to be later on down the road. I want to get out all the basic Blender stuff and modifiers, constraints, drivers, and go over all that stuff and everything. Again, because you're going to need to know all of that stuff. And not just for this, but for everything else, for HardOps, Fluent, any other add-on that you can think of. You're going to need to know that stuff. And it's only going to help you out and benefit you much more if you know that stuff and everything, because you're going to be able to figure out modifiers and fix problems and do things you know, on your own, instead of, you know, needing help when things go bad and you can't figure it out. You shouldn't, at a certain point, when you get to a certain point, after you go through everything, you shouldn't be at a point where you can't figure something out. You should be able to figure it out, right or wrong. You should be, if you got a problem, you should be able to fix it and have it do what you want, whether that's the correct way to do it or not. But you should be able to get, if you got a vision in your head, you should be able to get that vision and get Blender to do it for you comfortably and where it looks good. And again, if it doesn't look good, you can go into Photoshop and fix it. So, like I said, there's an answer to everything. Trust me, I know how to work with problems. I do it a lot. So, with that, I think I hope you guys enjoyed this. Well, the beginners. I don't think anyone else. There's going to be probably some people that click on this video by mistake from YouTube. But with that, and like I said, if you want to know about it, I won't click to the guy's channel because he doesn't really cover a whole lot of Blender. He does a lot of other stuff, and this was like years ago that he had this. So you'd have to go back into his archives. But you can just search for HeavyPoly Blender. Just type in Blender and HeavyPoly in YouTube, and you'll get his channel. But you'll have to scroll down. You know, you have to go back to like 2 years ago or something to find out where he has his videos on HeavyPoly itself, where he's modeling or something, to watch it. But with that, we'll catch you guys next video. And thanks for watching, as always. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and everything, like always. And we'll see you next time.